I would now like to welcome our witnesses. As an individual, we have DJ Switch from Amnesty International Nigeria. Welcome, DJ.
Thank you.
We have Osai. Thank you. We have Osai Ojigo, the country director. Welcome, Osai. And from Biafrans in Canada Community Association, we have Tim Okafor and Stella Kemdirim. And welcome to all of you. You will have 5 minutes to be able to make your deputations, and then the members, it will be open to the members for questions. Thank you. And I will hold to those 5 minutes so that we can have as much time as possible for questions from the members. You may commence, DJ Switch.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. Just a real quick background of Nigeria and Nigerians. It's a great country with great people, spirited people. Whatever good and bad out there, of course, but I tell you, from my personal experience, it is either as a result of the government's handling of Nigerians, the country, how we have responded and reacted, no excuses. Now, specifically to the day, 20th of October, 2020, we had such Nigerians there, spirited, focused, united in one goal, against injustice, against police brutality, against bad governance. What started out as a protest against police brutality, especially the unit called SARS, unfortunately just degenerated into something I still find it hard to reconcile with in my heart. I remember being there at the protest. I was on stage with some beautiful organizers of that particular day's event. And we were informed that there was a curfew for 3 p.m. I do remember that there was outrage on Twitter because it was short notice. The curfew, I think we got the information at about noon that day. And so we said, look, people came from all over Lagos. It was thousands of people there. The best thing we can do if people can't make it home, we'll sit still, don't do anything, don't move. We'll sit still and we'll sleep over till night. It was at the toll gate. And then later on, we got, sorry about that. And then later on, we got, I'm so sorry. I don't know if you can hear me. Okay, great. I'm getting some messages in my ear. Okay, so we also got information later that the governor wanted to see me and 6 other people. And I remember saying to them that we have no leader. If the governor wanted to speak to us, he should kindly come to the toll gate and address Nigerians because we've been out for over 11 days. And then the lady that came to give us the information, I do not remember her name at this time, left. She came back some 30 minutes later to inform us that the curfew had been canceled and moved to 9 p.m. I remember telling the people there this information and people cheered. While this was going on, another member that was standing behind me came up to me and said, someone is taking out the cameras from the toll gate. And I said, do you recognize who? Because we had I think the real heart of Nigerians there. We did not destroy anything except for graffiti. We did not take anything. We did not take anything from the toll gate. We cleaned up after ourselves. So we wanted to be sure it wasn't happening. Well, it wasn't a protester that was doing that. And then we found out that it was one of the staff, or, he had the LCC uniform. Those are the people that manage the toll gate. So he took a picture just to keep and, to sort of use as proof that we didn't destroy or take anything. And then we realized that the big billboard that is over the toll gate had been turned off. And so just before 7, it was like to 7, maybe 7:15, not too sure on the exact time, but to 7, we heard gunshots coming from behind. At first, it was chaotic because we didn't know where the gunshots were coming from. We didn't know what the gunshots were about. And then the lights went off. I think the rest of that is just the most tragic thing. I thought I was going to die. I thought we're all going to die. And it was in that moment that I said, let me go live on Instagram so people see what happened to us. people see where we were killed. I just believed that was what was going to happen. And I remember the military came in first. They stopped shooting at some point, and I walked up to one of them and I asked him why he was shooting at us. And he said he had express orders from above and that I was coming too close to him. And if I came too close, it would be considered an attack on him and he would have to shoot. So I moved back and asked everyone to move back. It didn't take maybe another 10 minutes, the shooting started again. I remember seeing 7 people that had been shot down. And we were telling people on my live Instagram to please help us call ambulances, to please help us call CNN, Al Jazeera, Fox News, anybody, BBC, just so that people see what's going on. And then when we noticed that people had called ambulances because we just saw an ambulance coming the first time. But then we noticed the ambulance was stopped by another set of military at the back, which we didn't realize that it was a 3-line formation. So there were military people behind us, in front of us, and another line behind the ones in front of us. And so they stopped the first ambulance, they sent it back. So I remember saying on my live that they're turning the ambulances away. The second one came, they turned it back. And then the third one came from our back. I really don't know how he got in, but he got in. So we had to rush. There was an elderly man who was shot on the side. We had to rush him to the ambulance. After this part, everything sort of died down
DJ Switch. Yeah, we will get an opportunity through questions to hear more of your story. It's very compelling. Okay. We do want to hear it, but we are going to move just so we can get through the witnesses and then get into questions. So we're going to move to Osai Ojigo.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chair, and for the opportunity to share a bit more light on the current situation in Nigeria. I would like to begin by stating that on the face of it, Nigeria is very compliant with human rights. It has ratified many international treaties, including the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. However, human rights violations and abuses are prevalent. The #Endsars protest movement arose due to the widespread human rights violations, including torture and extrajudicial killings by the police in the country. It all started when a viral video of a man shot by officers of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, of the Nigerian Police Force on 3rd October 2020 in Delta State was trending online. It elicited a lot of anger because people were just shocked by the brazen act of SARS. While the campaign for End SARS was not new, it was the first time in October 2020 that street protests were made under the banner. Earlier in the year, in June 2020, Amnesty International Nigeria released the report, Time to End Impunity, where we documented at least 82 cases of abuse by SARS between January 2017 and May 2020. The findings showed that SARS officers carried out torture and other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment as punishment on detainees or as a tool for extracting information and for extortion. They seized money and property from suspects to enrich themselves rather than to bring criminals to book. Our research showed that young persons, especially young men between the ages of 17 and 30, are most at risk of arrest, torture, or extortion by SARS. Even journalists were harassed, coerced, and threatened, especially when they are covering stories or failing to disclose sources to the officers. Nigerian government adopted the Anti-Torture Act in 2017. This law criminalizes torture in Nigeria. However, no SARS officer or any police officer for that matter has been convicted of torture in the Nigerian court, despite the fact that torture is actually quite pervasive by security agents. The impact of the End SARS protest was huge because nearly 30 out of the 36 states had hosted at least one protest. Lagos had the most venues and the largest number of people gathering to protest against this brutal tactical unit. On Tuesday, 20th of October 2020, which we now call Black Tuesday, Nigeria's military forces opened fire at peaceful protesters at the Lekki Toll Gate in Lagos. There were other shootings by police in other communities in Lagos that day, leaving at least 12 people dead in Lagos. Amnesty International noted that at least 56 people have died across the country since the protest began, up till 20th of October. In many cases where the security forces intervened in the protest, they had used excessive force in an attempt to control or stop the protest. There's evidence that talks were not stopped, especially when they were trying to disrupt this protest. It's important to stress also that there have been several panels set up by the government to resolve these issues, yet they have never followed up the recommendations. There have been threats against human rights defenders, activists, NGOs, and Amnesty International for speaking against injustice. Recently, just on Wednesday, November 4th, Amnesty International was threatened by an unknown group suspected to be sponsored by the Nigerian military. They have given Amnesty International Nigeria 7 days to leave the country. Otherwise, they are going to inflict violence and arson on us and on our premises. The atmosphere of fear is distracting and preventing many human rights defenders and activists from demanding for accountability. It also puts frontline advocates at risk of being attacked by non-state actors. Nigeria needs to be reminded of their international obligations to protect everyone within their territory without discrimination. And we hope our testimony today would help the committee in arriving at what sort of pressure to put on Nigeria to do the right thing. I thank you.
So Ms. Switch, take your time, but I hope that you'll leave me some time to ask some follow-up questions. Just in your remarks, also, if you can address the Cybercrime Act in Nigeria and its impact on your advocacy in the online space as well. So please go ahead, Ms. Switch.
Okay, so just to quickly round that up, so like you said, I can leave you some time. We were able to sort of hold our ground, and then the military left after a commandant came, and we got his name. I think they must have, we just guessed they must have found out that there were a lot of people that were watching what was going on. But 45 or 50 minutes later, the police came and did the same thing and actually killed people. So that's just to wrap it up as quickly as possible. With regards to cybercrime in Nigeria, I think that's if I understand your question. Yes, it's a problem. It is a problem. And just like I said when I started speaking, that we've got something about Nigerians. We're very hardworking, and we have this survival, instinct at every level. There's this desperate need to survive, and not excusing that act because it is criminal, But all I'm saying is something led to something, and there's not enough sensitization. There's not enough education, for people to understand what they can use their skills for actually, So it's a broad scope. It's something that needs to be addressed. You've got intelligent people in Nigeria who don't use it for anything but to do criminal things online. Just to address that, yeah.
Thank you. And Ms. Switch, if you can identify and highlight for us, what has your life been like since that fateful day, and how you are doing after that fact?
I've been on the move because it was 2 days after my live. The first threat came in. I thought it was a joke. I sincerely thought it was a joke. I was on my way home, because I had been on the street for 2 days straight. But just as I was leaving, because some of my colleagues in the same industry as I am tried to come get me out of the hospital, I was sort of vouching for one of the boys that we took in there. He was shot in the neck by a policeman. And just as I left, I got a phone call telling me I should please leave the vicinity, that there were military men at the hospital. And I think they found that out because on my story as well, I was thanking the manager of the hospital for letting us into his hospital and for treating us for free. So I think that's how they got that information. So I had to abandon my home. I moved from people's homes, like different places. I stayed in someone's property that they hadn't lived in for a long time. And then just to get out of Nigeria, I literally, I made short videos of my trip, just getting to where I am today, and I'm still traveling. So I'm not even done with my trip. And it's like in a forest just to get out of Nigeria. I still, when I put a cotton bud in my left ear, I bleed from there. I have a picture of that as well. I've been trying to document everything. I barely sleep. It's crazy. I can imagine parents who actually can't find their kids now because they've moved bodies. So I don't know.
Thank you for sharing that, Ms. Switch. I really, really hope that things improve.